I know what you're here for, and I got plenty of it in the downstairs mix-up. All right, we got Zendikar Rising spoilers. I'm Joey Moss, and let's just get into all the craziness. And someone said something funny. I'm going to talk about that in a second here. But first we have Colony Territory and Ambush. Colony, that's right. Ooh, that, is that a jaguar? Is that a cheetah? It looks ferocious, and it has swords. All right, anyway. So, yeah, the big thing with this set is these lands, you know. And instance sorceries, they can even be creatures sometimes. Craziness. These could be powerful. These could be too powerful, possibly. If any of these lands entered the battlefield untapped, I would have to say that's pretty busted, and they would see so much play, it'd be ridiculous. So I would assume every single one of these have to enter the battlefield tapped, unless there's some wild, stipulation that's met. So anyway, target creature you control fights target creature you don't control on the ambush side, and then on the other side, it just comes in tapped, and then, you can tap it for a green mana your following turn. That is interesting, though. I mean, it's all good stuff. Skyclave Apparition, 3-drop, Core Spirit. When Skyclave Apparition enters the battlefield, exile up to one target I messed it up. Target non-land, non-token permanent you don't control with converted mana cost 4 or less. When Skyclave Apparition leaves the battlefield, the exile card's owner creates an XX blue illusion creature token, where X is the converted mana cost of the exiled card. That's a pretty nasty little core spirit there, if I don't mind so saying. I think it's cool, but I almost don't. I mean, because you're getting rid of like something temporary. You're getting rid of something that has 4 converted mana cost or less. But you're giving your opponent an XX illusion. I mean, that could easily be a 4/4, a 3/3, a 2/2, whatever. When this thing leaves the battlefield, and I could only assume Skyclave Apparition, it's not invincible. It could easily just be blown up. It's on a 2/2. A shock can destroy this thing. I don't like it at all. I think it's extremely high risk, and maybe like a last ditch effort kind of thing, like you have nothing else you can really play. You have to get out of this situation. Maybe your opponent's, low on removal. Maybe they don't have any removal. There's nothing in their hand. Then you drop this. I don't know though. I'm just not a huge fan of this card. I think it's low reward, high risk, at best. Amiria Captain and Taunting Arbor Mage. Look at that. I'm liking the artwork in this set. It's really cool. So Taunting Arbor Mage, it has the kicker. This is the green one first. You may play an additional 3 as you cast this spell. That's the kicker. So you'd have to pay a total of 6 in order to drop this, 5 of which is colorless. When Taunting Arbor Mage enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, all creatures able to block target creature this turn do so. I will tell you, I'm in favor of these kind of cards. It's really neat. I thought it said All Eyes on Me for a second. I was like, is that a Tupac reference? Okay. But I like cards like these. We've seen them before. We've seen them in the past. We've seen them recently. And if you have a creature like with Death Touch or something like that, that makes these kind of things all the more nasty. But really, the purpose of this card is just so other creatures can get through with their damage. That is really the goal with Taunting Arbor Mage. So do consider that. Everything else gets through because everything is forced to block this one creature if they're available blockers. I dig it. I like it. Want some more of it. I hope. No, we're only going to see one card like that, I guarantee, in this entire set. Amiria Captain's a 4-drop Flying Vigilance. Enters the battlefield. Put a +1/+1 counter on it for each creature in your party. Again, the whole party thing. Your party consists of up to 1 of each of Cleric, Rogue, Warrior, and Wizard. So your party can have a max of 4. You get 1 of each. So this thing could come out as a 5/5. That's a big angel for 4. Flying and Vigilance, 5/5. No lifelink, sorry, but that's still pretty legit. Honestly, meeting this stipulation with all these parties, I doubt is going to be that easy. At least the 4 case scenario. Having all 4 of them out, I don't think it's going to happen quite that often. I mean, there's things called removal, guys. Look at this elf ninja. That should totally be a ninja, by the way. Elf rogue, reach 1/4, pretty cool. Just saying, I don't think that whole 4 is going to happen too often. Spitfire Lagak, sure, it's a 4-drop. This is like the alternate version of it. Landfall, whenever a land enters a battlefield under your control, Spitfire Lagak deals 1 damage to each opponent. That you could probably find ways to abuse, in the right kind of build. I'm sure like outside of standard and whatnot, you can really abuse this where you just have a ton of lands can just enter the battlefield, at once. I believe there's some crazy shenanigans that you could pull it off, but not in standard so much. I mean, the best you're going to be able to drop 2 lands a turn, At best, maybe 3 if you're playing just nothing. You're focusing nothing but on landfall ability and stuff hitting the field. But then you also have to draw enough cards to play all those lands. And it would just be cool if you could just search your library for all your lands, put them into play, you win the game. But it's not going to be the way the cookie crumbles with this card. But on a 3/4 body, that's good. I'm glad it's not a 3/3. That's a big plus. And dealing 1 damage again and again can get pretty ugly. Maybe in a control shell, this would be kind of fun, perhaps. We'll see how it plays out. Because you do have that other card that's really, really big. It's a 6-drop, and it triples the damage of everything. So just think about that with that and some kind of control, Utility Knife is the very first equipment we see. Enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. I do like that. You don't have to equip it for 3. But when your creature dies, though, you do have to equip for 3 then. So equip creature gets +1/+1. So, man, just offer it. Boom! Smack it right into a creature. There it goes. Definitely going to see playing limited outside of that. Probably not much anywhere else. Then we have Deadly Alliance and Thwart the Grave. Thwart. It's like a wart, but a thwart. That's interesting. So Deadly Alliance here. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. It is 5. So essentially, you could only pay 1. I highly doubt it. Typically, you're probably going to be paying 3 or 4, 2, 3, something to cast this. Not saying it's impossible to get a 4 out. It's very simple. But there's things called board wipes. There's things called removal. How many times are boards just like stacked with creatures, Maybe this meta will be different than the last meta, We will find out. Very interesting card. Yeah, it's going to see play. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to build around the cleric, rogue, warrior, and wizard concept. The whole party concept is going to be fun. Thwart the Grave, similar thing. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. Return target creature card and up to 1 target cleric, rogue, warrior, or wizard creature card from your graveyard to your battlefield. 6, that's a big boy, but you can get that down. And not only is it return target creature card and up to 1 target cleric, rogue, warrior, or wizard creature from the battlefield. It's going on the battlefield. So 2 creatures are going to be returning to the battlefield for at least, 6 max, of course. But, after a board wipe, you could play 6 and then boom, do this. But that's good. You could even reduce the casting cost. It could be only 2 of black mana, but I highly doubt it's going to happen that often. Because if you're returning stuff from the graveyard, that means stuff died. So keep that in mind. Nissa Who Shakes the World. Or you can mill yourself. That's a thing, too. Nissa Who Shakes the World. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm so glad you're gone. Can you imagine if we were spoiling this card right now? Ashaya, almost gone. Soul of the Wild. Cool card, 5-drop. If Nissa was around with this, it would be just a bloodbath. Anyway. The old Star is back. I do like that. 5-drop, elemental, Soul of the Wild's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. That could be really big. Non-token creatures you control are forest lands in addition to their other types. Thank God Nissa is getting the frickin' heck out of here. There is a new Nissa, but it's temporary. It's not like she makes these lands permanently. The new Nissa is a temporary. It only lasts till end of turn, and then you'd have to make that land into something good again. Cheaper casting costs, only a 4-drop, but very interesting nonetheless. This mythic, I don't know. It's 5. I don't know. We're going to find out. I don't know how good it's going to be. It dies through removal, guys. Prowling Faladar. in its showcase art, which is beautiful, and in its regular art here. Is that a fish in its mouth? No, that's a dinosaur's hand or a lizard hand or something. That's weird. Anyway, it's got Vigilance, Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Prowling Felidar. That thing's going to get big. I mean, it's Noah Johnny's Pride Mate, but it's also 4. It's never mind. This card's crap. Limited, great card. Limited's going to be a fun card. Outside of that, not so much. Okay, what else we got here? Swarm Shambler. Ooh, enters the battlefield. I have not even read this one yet. It's a 1-drop, which I'm already scared. Fungus Beast. Swarm Shambler enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it, so it comes out as a 1/1. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it becomes the target of a spell an opponent controls, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. Okay, so you definitely want to be running an entire board of creatures that either enter with +1/+1s or can get +1/+1s, or you're giving your creatures +1/+1s, because that would make this really annoying. Kind of like that Annex card, because when they die, they come back almost as 1/1s, And if you're going to target, if your opponent's going to target one of your creatures, 9 times out of 10 they're destroying it, or it's getting exiled or something, so it's going bye-byes. Most of the time. There's stuff like Pacifism, where it's just kind of like in utero, just chilling there, For 1, tap it, put a +1/+1 counter on Swarm Shambler. So this thing can become bigger and bigger, but over time, it's gradual. It's a 1-drop. I'll give it that. I think it's going to see a lot of play. But again, in the right shell, you have to be running all the +1/+1 counters. Really cool, rare right there. Then we have Grotag, Nightrunner, and Sneaking Guide. Look at these fellas. They're always climbing about. Someone made the comment, 50% of the cards so far spoiled. This made me laugh. Are either climbing something, flying, or jumping, basically. Yeah, pretty much. And they're curious as to why it's like that. So if anyone has a good answer for them, by all means, please share. I'm very curious myself. Grotag Nightrunner deals combat damage to a player. Exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. It's not evasive, so that stinks. Sorry, not much you're going to do about that. However, for 2, target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. Well, these just go together like bread and butter. Goblin decks are going to be annoying. Give this thing haste, and wow, you got some nasty sauce on your hands. Actually, not really. Yeah, it doesn't really matter, because you already have to pay the 3 if it haste anyway. Anyway, this is cool. Cool little synergy, budget friendly. It's going to be fun. Sneaking Guide and Nightrunner, hot dogs. Coveted Prize, 5-drop. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. Search your library for a card. Put it into your hand. Just any card. Doesn't matter what card. Any card. Search your library for a card. Put it into your hand. Then shuffle your library. If you have a full party, which you're probably never going to have, you may cast a spell with converted mana cost 4 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. That is phenomenal. I think there's a lot of potential here. Maybe, like I said, the standard's going to be different. We're going to have a lot of these parties, and they're going to easily be met, and everyone's going to live in happy fairy tale land, and the story is just going to be a beautiful, happy ever after, okay? And everyone's going to have the best decks, where we're all going to have a cleric, a rogue, a warrior, and a wizard out, and we're just going to cast stuff for dirt cheap every single time we play a card. Get real. All right. But that's still a cool card nonetheless. If you have ways to protect your creatures, I'm sure there's going to be some nasty decks that are going to make it happen, Captain. Great card. It's a tutor. It's legit. It's 5. And easily you can knock off 1 or 2 of these, with no problem. Possibly you can cast it just for 1. Could you imagine playing that for 1 and then dropping a spell, converting mana cost 4 or less? Just play it for free. What? That's good. That is good stuff, my friends. This may end up being playsets in decks, and we may end up, I could be completely wrong about all this. I don't think I'm wrong. I'm not saying it's terrible. I think the party thing is cool, because no matter what, almost no matter what, you're going to reduce the casting cost of spells that you're playing, because you're going to have creatures on the board. I just don't think it's going to be that easy to meet a card like this. I don't think it's going to be easy to meet that requirement to get to 4 or less. Will it happen? Absolutely. Will it happen often? Probably not. So that's all I'm saying. Why did I not put the card? Okay, Best Rider is on the right and Sky Temple is on the left. So this just enters the battlefield tapped. You tap it for a white mana. And then the other side, you remember, you can pick which side you go with. But that's it after that. You know, when Best Rider Sky Temple enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life. So there you have it. If you need a little bit of life and a blocker up, you can get that out of this card right here. No biggity, no doubt. People are wondering if this enters the graveyard, will it act as which will it act as? That's a good question. I did not look into that, but I mean, there's 2 things I could assume. One, it could be either or. Okay, it doesn't matter. That's an option. 2, it has to be whichever you played, which would make a lot more sense, in my opinion. So if you played the land side, then it goes in the it enters the graveyard as a land. That would make sense. That would make the most sense. If it enters with the battlefield as a creature and it dies, it goes into the graveyard as a creature. You see what I'm saying? It's one of the 2 options. There's no other way about it. If anyone wants to clear this up, by all means, please go ahead and do so. Then we have Anticognition. This thing's cool, man. I don't know if that's a unicorn shooting, like out of its head, or a laser beam shooting out of its head, or if just someone decided to use a super soaker and just squirt her right in the face. Who knows? For deuce, counter target creature or planeswalker spell unless its controller pays 2. If an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, instead counter that spell, then scry 2. Wow, we are very focused on the graveyard. Yes, we are. And this is going to be a very good card. This is probably one of the better commons that you're going to see printed in this set. Very, very cool card. Powerhouse indeed. Moving forward, we have a Ravager's Mace, a 3-drop equipment. When a Ravager's Mace enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. I like that, but the equip cost is just ridiculous. Equip is 4. Holy crap, Rakdos. Equip creature gets +1/+0 for each creature in your party and has menace. That is legit. So yeah, I hope we see more stuff similar to this. Giving that menace, yeah, and like give me the other colors, the artifact equipments and other colors, and I want to see a bunch of other abilities. I hope this is like a cycle with these. We will find out, but maybe not. Really cool though. But yeah, after the fact, that creature dies, man. You got to pay 4. I don't know, guys. Kaza Royal Chaser is a 2-drop. 1 deuce. This thing's nasty. Like I said, Wizard Tribal, baby, believe it's back. Said that yesterday's video. Flying Haste, tap it. The next instant or sorcery spell you cast this turn costs X less to cast. X lax. Where X is the number of wizards you control. As this ability resolves. Very, very interesting. So you got 3 wizards out, baby. When this thing's resolving, watch out, sonny boy. You might be able to cast some huge instants and sorceries. That also means, are we going to see some other instants and sorceries that are just really powerful? Maybe some 6-drops, some 5-drops, some 4-drops, and I'm sure we're going to, where like if you have the party going on, they reduce the casting cost. I'm looking forward to seeing those. Wizard Tribal's back, baby. Archpriest of Iona. Of course, Iona. This is a 1-drop, and this is a really good 1-drop for white. Archpriest of Iona's power is equal to the number of creatures in your party. It's on a 2-body, though. That's the only downside. But, guys, it only costs 1. Problem is, if this thing doesn't have any support around it, it's pretty worthless. It's a 0/2, doing nothing. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a full party, target creature gets +1/+1 and gains flying until end of turn. Again, I would not count on that to be met too often, but I could be terribly wrong. You drop a rogue, a cleric, a human, all that stuff. Not the human, sorry, the wizard, the warrior. You get all that out. You could essentially probably do it all by turn 3. You could probably have all that out turn 3. You're gaining some huge advantage over your opponent. I think it has to be a way to protect your creatures. If you have a full party, target creature gets +1/+1 against flying until end of turn. That's pretty big. That is a pretty big deal. Way to close out a game. It's gonna be a lot of fun with these cards, man. Good card in white, I must say. Nighthawk Scavenger. Oh boy, looks like a clown, man. I'm scared. All right, this is a neat one. So a 3-drop black vampire rogue. It's got flying, death touch, and life link. I like it already. I do. Nighthawk Scavenger's power is equal to 1 plus the number of card types among cards in your opponent's graveyards. It does say opponent's graveyards. So good for Commander. That's wonderful. But like your standard and modern, I mean, you really have to know what you're up against. I mean, there's decks running Karuga. I think, is it the Karuga? Whichever one where it reduced the casting cost, you can only play. If it's your Commander, you know, it reduced the casting cost, but you can only play those spells. Cuts it by 1. So all the creatures, if they're running nothing but creature type, guess what? This card is trash. I mean, at worst, it's a 2/3. Flying Death Touch Lifelink, like the other Nighthawk, which was a 2/3 flying Death Touch Lifelink, if I'm not mistaken, Vampire Nighthawk, which is great. So this thing has potential to get even bigger than that. So honestly, this is a pretty good card. It is on a 3 body, which is not too bad. If it was 2, I'd be upset. Vampire Nighthawk, I think, is a 2/3. Can't get any bigger, though. But this one can grow in size. That's what she said, and that looks pretty cool. I like the art on this one a lot, too. Also, something to keep in mind. Card types are Artifact, Conspiracy, Creature, Enchantment, Instant Land, Phenomenon, Plane, Planeswalker, Scheme, Sorcery, Tribal, and Vanguard. But you only really got to worry about Artifact, Creature, Enchantment, Instant, Land, Planeswalker, and Sorcery in our standard. That's correct. I think I'm missing one there. I don't know why I feel that way, but I'm probably not. Interesting card. We'll see what it does. Then we have the old Shelters. Okay, and Glacier. So as a land, enters the battlefield tapped, add a white mana. The other side, target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. Got to protect your creatures, guys. This looks pretty good. Do you need to protect your creatures? Do you need a land? Which one? Situational. I like it. Then we have Demon's Disciple. The black, when Demon's Disciple enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. It's a 3/1. I hate those kind of effects. But it's pretty good. I mean, each player has to do it. So maybe I'm sacking this. You know, maybe I'm sacking a 1/1 rat. Who knows what you're going to sack? Brushfire Elemental is a 2-drop. This one's pretty good. Haste. Brushfire Elemental can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Gotta like those abilities on these. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, Brushfire Elemental gets +2/+2 until end of turns, making a 3/3 real easily. Pretty legit. Elemental Tribal. Is it back again? Is it gone? Probably gone. But we will see what happens. Pretty legit. Okay, what do we got? Umar, a wizard, and the Sky Falls. So it could enter as, or tapping for blue mana the next turn. Because it enters tapped. Whenever you cast instant or sorcery or wizard spell, Umara Wizards gains flying until end of turn. So yeah, Wizard Tribal is definitely going to be back. It's going to be annoying, you know, because I can't stand it. That's how I feel. These are my thoughts. What are yours? It's going to be fun to build around. A lot of instants and sorceries flying around, and wizards getting big and crazy and nasty and doing ugly things. It's something to look forward to. I'm just saying, guys. Teeth and Warrior here. Here's a cool example. We don't see many times like this. Pick a land or a creature. What? It's a 6-drop, trample, 4/5. Pretty basic, but you can also have it enter for a land over here, man. That's pretty nuts. Or it taps for red mana. That's pretty different. Don't see that stuff like this that often. I don't think we've never seen this before. Let's face facts. So very interesting on that note. Wow, that's it. Oh my gosh, that was a lot though. Zendikar Rising. Spoilers continuing. Today was not the biggest showing of spoilers, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, guys. Tomorrow we should get more and more spoilers. I mean, there's going to be certain days we get like 2 mythics, 3 mythics, 10 rares. And there's going to be other days like this where we just get like 5, 6 rares, nothing too crazy. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Check out these other videos around here. Skadink, skadink, skadoosh.